Joining us now with stories trending around the world is Vimbai Mutinhiri Ikpeyong. Good morning, Vimbai.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm good. Lovely.
Yes, thank you.
You're the
my all back, right?
Well, even with this one, it's still
it was a bit high maintenance.
I know, but very lovely.
We'll talk hair issues later. Thank you very much. And I missed Rufai by just a few minutes, didn't I?
Yes,
but we've got lots to talk about. Great interviews today. That conversation with the CEO of the Dangote refinery, I think, is going to get a lot of people thinking and talking and hopefully acting very time soon. So a great one on that. But let's kick off what's trending. Yesterday I got a number of messages from people saying I don't greet the viewers. Well, viewers, good morning and welcome to what's trending. We're going to get straight into today's show with news from the political space. As the revered religious leader and ADC stakeholder, Sheikh Ahmad Tijani Umar has debunked reports that he was arrested by the DSS after hosting Peter Obi in Kaduna. The news went viral after Peter Obi took to his X account to announce the Sheikh's arrest. The tweet posted by Peter Obi read in part, I have just been made aware early this morning that revered religious leader Sheikh Ahmad Tijani Umar has been arrested by authorities shortly after hosting me in Kaduna on Sunday. This development underscores the deeply troubling state of our nation and our democracy, where freedom of speech and movement is increasingly threatened, and where citizens and perceived political opponents face harassment and unnecessary persecution. This cannot be allowed to continue. Well, very shortly after this tweet was posted, Sheikh Umar himself made this video where he confirmed that he in fact had not been detained by the DSS, but that he was only invited for questioning. Let's take a look.
Detained by the DSS. I was invited for questioning. I cooperated fully and I was released. I am free. I am safe and I am well.
Now, of course, all of this comes on the backdrop of Malam Nasir El-Rufai having his day in court yesterday. And of course, we saw the crowds of people who came out in solidarity with him. So some commentators are saying that this move was intended to prevent further mobilization of support for El-Rufai. So conflicting statements, a lot of confusion, but glad that there is clarity now around this issue. Dr. Abati, let's begin with you.
Okay, let's start by saying that the Sheikh Ahmad Umar spoke in a very responsible manner. Because before he spoke up, the story out there was that he was arrested by the DSS because he was visited on Sunday by the ADC chieftain, Mr. Peter Obi. And the narrative was constructed to give the impression that anybody who associates with either Mr. Peter Obi or Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri Adamawa, will be targeted by the state, by those who do not want the opposition to thrive. Why I say that Sheikh Umar has spoken in a responsible manner is that if you listen to the whole of his tape, he debunked the fact that anybody arrested him. He said he was invited for question. However, the caveat for less intelligent people is that he did not go a step further to say what the questioning was all about. But he made it very clear that those who have been putting it out that he was being harassed by the state, that they were spreading fake news, and that he's a free man, and that it was just questioning, and that he was immediately released. For the benefit of others, perhaps they may well be interested in what he was questioned about. He then went a step further to tell people that everybody should be calm, they should respect the rule of law, there should be no adverse reaction on the basis of he being invited. After all, anybody can be investigated, anybody can be interrogated. There's nobody in this country that is above the rule of law, and it is part of the responsibility of the security agencies to seek clarifications where, they seem to have set doubts about certain things. He then also addressed the issue of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, who was, arraigned yesterday although he's still remanded in custody, the process having been activated, which I said is the right thing. Everybody who has been accused of one thing or the other deserve their day in court. He then said people should also be calm about that and allow due process to take its course. He then went on to the issue of election and said people should register, that's mobilization, and that they should vote on election day, and they should vote wisely by, using his word, voting for a better leader. Now, he did not state who that better leader is, but he being a chieftain of the opposition, I assume, will be supporting his party. But his tone was measured. Some other characters will have come back from that invitation from the DSS, and they will be politicizing that interaction. And I think citizen responsibility is important in helping not to inflame passions or drive up sentiments as we move towards the general elections of 2027.
Absolutely.
There's a collective responsibility not to just grandstand and try to heat up the polity and play politics with every little item. So I commend the Sheikh for his measured tone, for his responsible manner of communicating and trying to douse tension. If there are other details, let other people say so, and then we'll assess those details.
Right. On social media, some people were saying, well, this was the tweet by Peter Obi created pressure to make sure that if there was anything that was going to happen, that it didn't eventually happen. You know, there are so many takes to this particular incident. Your views?
If we were not talking about Nigeria, I would, analyze or comment on this story, very face value. DSS has asked him, he's come out to give a rejoinder and to clear the air around what really happened. But this is Nigeria. Whether we like it or not, this is politics season. And I said it earlier and I maintain it that from now on, a lot of things, actions and postures and perceptions will be viewed from a political lens. There's a lot of political thinking around this. And so when actions are done during this season, many actions that will be done during this season would be viewed from a political lens. And that's why you cannot remove they say the witch cried at night, the baby died in the morning. You cannot take away the fact that this man is a supporter has been vocally supportive about El-Rufai. The Sheikh hosted a member of the opposition party who, for some reason or the other, anytime he shows up somewhere, something happens afterwards. And you wonder why, during a political season, was then called in for questioning, as he said, by the DSS. There are questions around this. What we're just asking for is for a fair, level playing ground, and that no one should be targeted because of their political views, even though you might put in or shock in a legitimate reason for bringing them in. Because there are too many incidents and stories around the fact that once you are a member of the ADC or key members of the ADC, all of a sudden have cases to answer. We're not taking them away or exempting them from being guilty. But the truth is that we've seen these scripts play out in the past in Nigeria, where you use the arms of government to target certain political opponents in Nigeria. That's what we're just saying. And so it's good that he spoke out, and we don't want to see this, happen. This is still like 10 months to elections. If we're not careful, we'll see more of these cases happen as we get closer to election. Let everybody just have a fair playing, level playing field, and let Nigerians have the opportunity to choose who they feel the better leader is or the best leader for them is.
That's it. Well, certainly, like you pointed out, it is a curious case of coincidental timing. People should answer questions to authorities, but what is making people a little bit uneasy is the timing and the pattern of meetings followed by questions being answered.
Security will not go to bed because it's political season.
Correct, yes.
The vigilance that you ask for from citizens is the same vigilance that we ask for from the security agencies.
Exactly.
So
they should act accordingly.
Yes.
They should act accordingly.
And if we want to strengthen institutions, they must do their work.
Yes.
All this value addition, value judgment is just emotional, and it comes from ignorance for the most part.
Okay, well, I love the fact that we have very, what shall I say, very robust debate and insights. It's up to you, the viewer, to determine where you stand on the issues. Now, to our next story. With just 24 hours to go until the ruling All Progressives Congress Party's National Convention kicks off at the Eagle Square in the nation's capital, Abuja, scandal and controversy is bubbling in the party's ranks. A video of APC stakeholder in Rivers State, Fubara Dagogo, unsuccessfully trying to claim his nomination form after paying a whopping 5.1 million naira for the position of National Vice Chairman South-South has surfaced online.
I paid for this form. 5 million. Excuse me. Whoever that has all the dates to go for this contest, excuse me, come on.
Well, Dagogo was also on our evening talk show Prime Time last night, and he detailed his experience, which he also alleges is the shared experience of over 600 other aspiring candidates in the APC who claim that the party has refused to issue their forms even after they've made payment.
They received the money and we went for clearance. We were cleared in accordance with the rules and regulations of the convention. We were asked to go to the organizing department for the forms to be issued. We got there, they told me that they've exhausted form. We were surprised when some microscopic few in the system said the form has been exhausted. And we're asking, how? Is it that 2,000 persons came to buy this form? They said no, that's in fact they printed limited number. How?
I really enjoyed that interview. I know Indy asked him at some point, are there anointed candidates in there that have been given the forms? Anyway, Dagogo is said to have approached a federal high court in Abuja to stop the zonal convention that's supposed to hold in Asaba, Delta State. He's also suing for 100 million naira in damages. Well, speaking on behalf of the APC, the National Secretary, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, described these allegations as spurious and lacking in basis. So, Ayo, we have PDP going to court to try and stop convention. We saw how that played out. Now that somebody is trying to stop a APC convention, most likely won't be successful. But why accept people's money, take them through screening, as is being alleged? However, he has the receipt to show that he's paid the money. And no nomination form. What are the implications of all this?
Okay, so I'll come from this angle around. I'm glad, and that interview, like you said, was very instructive. I'm glad that Fubara Dagogo is not keeping quiet and coming out to speak. I recall when we were speaking about this, I think it was yesterday, and was said that in a party as strong as the APC, particularly the incumbents, the ruling party, they are usually able to sort matters around themselves, and you don't really have tensions at primary levels because they understand it's not a matter of, okay, by the time this person sorts out this person, Baba Sope has said, everybody to your tent, O Israel. But you do have outliers like Fubara Dagogo who want to challenge the status quo. And this is what we're seeing play out in APC. So despite the fact that they're saying that because they're the party in power, they have 32 governors and the likes, it is still very important to state that there will be outliers. And that is why we keep saying that it is not Uhuru yet. And that if the APC doesn't manage its affairs properly, there might be implosions. And sometimes implosions come from very small triggers of fire. It may seem like nothing or they've got everything together, but it might be simple matters like this Fubara Dagogo or members that are very unlikely that would cause, a destabilizing to a certain extent. I do still believe that the APC has a very strong structure in terms of systems and how to manage internal conflicts better than the opposition parties currently because of the powers that they have. But it's also good to see outliers. If we don't get it right at primary level, it's a foretaste of what would happen during the main elections, is what we've continuously said. And so I urge that Fubara Dagogo, if he has the guts to fight against the powers that be in the APC, to go all the way and challenge them in court, because it's the same challenge that the APC had with the governor, the former governor, who said he didn't get nomination forms. And so if they're denying any member from getting nomination forms, it should be also a matter that the court can address, as they did in regards with the PDP. But let's see if the APC in the next few days would resolve things, quietly, and Fubara will come out to say that all things are well now. Let's proceed with proceedings.
We wait to see. I mean, the question around internal democracy is a big one, because we now see that it's not exclusive to opposition parties. Within the ruling party as well, they're asking questions about internal democracy. Well, we'll continue to wait and see how this is going to play out. It's certainly a case that a lot of people anticipated, especially with so much decamping, new members coming in and so forth, and a limited number of positions. How will the spoils be shared? Well, the convention is coming up this weekend, so we shall be here and watching. Now, to power issues and an apology. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu yesterday surprised Nigerians with an unexpected apology following weeks of what many describe as the worst power crisis in Nigeria's recent history. Speaking at a press briefing last night, he promised the nation that the situation would be resolved in a matter of weeks and that Nigeria would enjoy as much as 6,000 megawatts of power by the end of this year.
I want to apologize to the generality of Nigerians, officially now coming from me as Minister of Power, that for this temporary issue that is leading to hardship being experienced, especially during this dry season, where there's so much heat everywhere, where businesses are also being affected, where schools are being affected, where industries are being affected. It is not our wish to find ourselves in this situation, but it's some factors that's actually beyond our control.
We have to go straight to social media for this one, because Nigerians had a lot to say, but these are some of the tweets we were able to dig up. Mehdi on X posted, "This is one appointment that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu didn't get right, and you can't blame Adelabu either. If you truly understand the mess our power sector has been from a long time ago, I wish him well." Ada tweeted, she said, "Nigerians can't plug their fridges into apologies. We are working on it has stayed longer than stable electricity. Businesses are shutting down, families are struggling. Leadership is measured by results, not we are working on it." And she kissed her teeth. Now, there's this page called Trending Tweets that likes to unpack tweets that are trending, or rather trends on X. And they said, update. Hours after reportedly losing the Oyo gubernatorial bid, Bayo Adelabu has now apologized to Nigerians over the poor power supply situation, promising to fix it in weeks and to reach 6,000 megawatts by end of 2026. Well, of course, the context with that is that we know that there's been internal conversation around who's going to get the Oyo gubernatorial ticket from the APC, and there'd been wide speculation that we discussed earlier in the week that he would resign to pursue that. Now some reports from meetings being held between stakeholders are saying that it's likely that ticket may go to Senator Sharafdin Ali as opposed to Minister Adelabu. So many people on social media were saying that, oh, is it because he didn't get the ticket, he's now remembered that he needs the Ministry of Power and he should apologize and he should work on it. Several things to bring together, Dr. Abati.
No, the role of speculating.
Yes, it is.
Because,
it is.
The primaries have not taken place. They've even chosen a candidate for Ogun State. A candidate has also been chosen for Lagos State. So when it is election time or primary season, or when it is even time to appoint ministers, people just speculate. And the media also gets sucked into that game, content creation game, which seems to be a major occupation these days. One of these days, they'll start teaching content creation in universities.
Oh, they do actually.
Already,
they actually do.
They call it social media or digital media.
No, yes, that's it.
I know. Yes. One of my sons wants to go.
They have it at Harvard as well.
Wants a master's degree in it. Anyway, that's by the way. But what I'm just saying is that the minister himself, speaking on that, was very vague. But he was specific in saying he wants to focus on this responsibility that he has been given. for the next 2 weeks. But March 31 is the deadline. If he remains in that position beyond March 31, then we will have received clarity that he wants to address the power problem in Nigeria. As for the apology, I said earlier that many Nigerians will not accept his apology because now he has said within 2 weeks, they will sort out all the problems, all the legacy issues Nigerians have had before, that electricity will be turned, stone will be turned into electricity. They have heard that the problem will be solved in 6 months, and yet we're still suffering from the heat that the minister was talking about. So this is a case of, it's when you see it that you believe it. And even if we see it within 2 weeks, will it be sustained? That's number one. Number two is that he was talking about gas supplies. That, Seplat Energy that supplies gas, they are having issues with infrastructure. But that the infrastructure, being fixed and all that. Why is infrastructure always the problem? With not just gas supply, also petrol supply. And some people say we need to be understanding. No, the only understanding that we will have is when we have regular electricity supply. That's the mandate. Because electricity is not a social service. It's an economic good. Without electricity, the company cannot improve. He says they will deliver 6,000 megawatts because they did well in 2025 and they have the capacity to deliver it. When we see it, we will see it. A committee has been set up on gas supplies. When you don't want to solve a problem in Nigeria, you set up a committee. The committee will be meeting. They will collect allowances. If you don't get the result at the end of the day, the committee will pocket the money. The people will still be complaining. Finally, gas. We also talked about this gas that they say is not available. Nigeria is described as a gas country, even by the Nigerian authorities. So we are even flaring associated gas. We've been hearing no gas flaring by the end of 2010. This is 2026. We're still on it. Gas flaring, associated gas is still being flared. Now, we even have a Nigerian liquefied natural gas. We have all kinds of gas projects. We sell most of the gas that we even manage to trap because it's more profitable to sell. And we in Nigeria here are suffering because all our thermal stations, they depend on gas and the people don't have electricity. Nigeria exports what it has. It cannot provide what it has for its own people. This is the irony.
This certainly is the irony, and it feeds into the bigger conversation around energy. You had the conversation earlier with the CEO of Dangote Refinery, but it's a global conversation with the crisis happening in the Middle East. Now, let's get an update about the impact of this crisis on us here at home. As the founder and chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has warned that the escalating crisis could push Nigeria and other African economies towards COVID-era remote working. Speaking after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu, he said rising oil prices and supply disruptions are increasing pressure on governments and citizens, with the possibility of reduced physical workdays if the crisis persists. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
I mean, you can see in some countries today what they've done. They ask everybody to work from home because they cannot, I think Indonesia also, they say no, only go to work 4 days a week. And they will look at the situation. If it doesn't improve, they will ask everybody not to go to work anymore. We will do like that time of COVID, where people will now go and work from home. So I pray, and we all need to pray that this thing de-escalates.
Absolutely. And the question is, are we taking the necessary measures? We know that this is not an exclusively Nigerian challenge. This is a global challenge. I thought to highlight that video because I saw it being posted by some government officials from other African countries as governments are struggling to explain to their people why the fuel price is increasing so drastically. But let's take a look at our next story so we can tie it all together. Our next story is all about the Palative economy, because a video is trending online from the comedian and skit maker Stanley Akpos, also known as Mr. SIM Card, where he decries the frequent practice of giving out rice as palliatives for Nigeria's biggest challenges. In the clip, he calls out the government for turning the country into Ricegeria, with other skits emerging online in the same vein. It was a very ricey day on social media yesterday. Let's take a look.
There are no roads. Give the rice. There's no light. Give the rice. There's no water. Give the rice. There are no hospitals. Give the rice. There's no schools. Give the rice. There's no security. Yakubu, give the rice. Rice answereth all things. Ricegeria. There was a country.
Everywhere hard. Hospital bill. Life is very hard for us. I don't know wwhere to start.
Mama, hospital bill. Life is hard. Collect rice. Mama, your problem is solved. Solve your problem.
Collect rice. we have to laugh, but we have to laugh because the response we've gotten so far. I understand that some governors are trying to work out modalities to see how they can follow the example made by Sheikh Makinde, but no palliatives though.
What's going to be palliatives? Okay, so the truth is that where's the lie told there in what the comedian has said? And I think it's just a sad reality of what we have become, a nation that is placated with so little. And at some point watching that video, I was thinking, okay, who should be blamed? Should it be the government, the politicians who have weaponized poverty, and so that a lot of people are willing to sell their birthright for 5,000 naira, or in this instance, a bag of rice, just because if you can give me something to go and feed my family at home, then I'm okay for now. That's one. Then there's also the low expectation of the people in terms of what they expect from their leaders or the dividends of good governance. And so you see people like this who have been almost indoctrinated to imagine that once you can give rice, you saw that person, I can't remember, last week where we showed a video of one of the city boy movements and the lady was like, her whole family will vote because she got free things. If only the people can be educated as to what is due to them as citizens based on the trust given to our leaders in positions of power to give back to the citizens' infrastructure. It is said that give me fish, I'll eat for one day. Teach me how to fish and I will eat for life. That is the problem we have currently in Nigeria, where we solve surface problems, but we don't deal with the substance. And so number one is that the people have to be educated. They have to know their rights as citizens, and they have to know what is due to them in terms of entitlements and inheritance from the Nigerian state. If we don't educate the people, they'll continue to be satisfied with a cup or a bag of rice in substitution for what should be education, healthcare, good roads. That's what people should be demanding. Then the other part is the government themselves not to weaponize poverty, because if we keep pushing, come election period, they will still give rice. The rice will still cause people to go and vote for some certain people, and that's quite sad. And that's why we must continue this civic engagement, civic education. People must understand their rights and demand more from their government. And then going to the first story, I think Alhaji Dangote is spot on. If you look at other countries, and I don't think that the government should still be talking about thinking of responses to global, impact, the US-Iran war on Nigeria. Saturday will make it 1 month, yet we have no concrete announcements from the government in terms of a systemic and strategic response to safety nets for Nigeria. It's a shame, quite frankly. That's why when Governor Sheikh Makinde gave 10,000 naira, even though small, we praise his efforts. At least he's made a move. What's happening to the other states? What's happened to the Nigerian government? All we hear are promises of we're going to do something to alleviate. What are the concrete plans of the Nigerian government to support Nigerians who are suffering from higher costs of PMS prices, higher food costs, and difficulties even at going to work? That's the question we're asking this morning, and yet no response. A few days to 1 month after the war. Well,
you deserve a bag of rice.
Rice.
I've been buying. They should give you rice.
I want good governance. Give me education.
Give them rice.
I don't buy the rice, but also give me good governance.
I saw some bags of rice around here.
No, rice is good.
The distribution was discriminatory. So go ask for your rice. Give them rice.
Maybe we should ban giving of rice and anything for anything. Since Nigerians like to ban any rice giving. But people will come for me if I say that. Give them rice and give them good governance.
But people should know to ask for more than rice. And Alhaji Aliko Dangote has given us great advice. Those protocols we used during COVID, let's try and see how we can, tap into some of the policies we used during the COVID era to manage ourselves, since we know that cash is currently quite hard to come by for most companies and even for many state governments. Now, Dr. Abati, I want to come to you for this next story because there was some drama in the courtroom as the Federal High Court in Abuja, activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore got into a heated argument caught on camera with Mushibao Adetumbi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, over Sowore's attempt to conduct a press briefing inside the courtroom. The incident happened yesterday on Tuesday, with Adetumbi insisting that inside the courtroom was not the correct place to address the media, while Sowore pushed back, stating that discussing matters while awaiting proceedings is allowed. Let's take a look.
We're having a press conference, sir.
This is the courtroom, sir.
It is.
Yes.
It's the court of justice. We are discussing justice here.
No, not in the courtroom, sir.
No, you can't tell
That
us.
matter.
No, if the judge comes back, that's fine. But while we are in court, as a participant in the court process, we can discuss the issue of justice on
it's
in
never
press.
done outside.
It's done.
Courtroom must be respected.
It is respect for the courtroom to discuss what is
You are
happening in the
supposed to be
court.
doing it outside.
No, there's no rule
Outside the courtroom.
There's no rule
the
that
president should know.
No, there's no
This
rule.
place is a chamber of justice.
It is.
It's meant.
It's not meant for lawyers alone.
You are as a party.
Yes.
Consider.
No,
Not the only press conference in the court of law.
I am.
It's strange to me. I've practiced for close to 3 decades. I've never seen it in the courtroom.
Yes.
You don't do that in the courtroom.
Well, sir,
It's not a press center, sir.
you are.
All right, well, in a new statement today, the Nigerian Bar Association condemned Sowore's actions, calling it a disruption and adding that the use of a courtroom as a venue for publicity, advocacy, theatrics, or confrontation is unacceptable. And Dr. Bati, some people are even going as far as we have to be careful, because if we abuse the access that the media is granted to the courtroom, the court can wake up one day and say, we're banning this because it's turning into a jamboree for all. What are your thoughts?
Okay, while I accept that persons like Sowore have a role to play in society by drawing attention, to issues of governance, of communal togetherness and all of that, I think Sowore in this instance is absolutely wrong. Public buildings are not places that you can just access to say that you can have a press conference because it is funded, built with public money, with taxpayers' money. Institutions have their own principles, their own modes of organization. And the court of law is called hallowed chambers for a reason. It's not a place where any outward drag can just walk in and say he wants to hold a press conference inside the courtroom. And Adetumbi SAN, I think, was very correct. I would have expected the NBA to commend him to say that he acted properly as an officer in the temple of justice, defending that hallowed chamber. The Lady of Justice is blind for a reason, because she doesn't say, you can come and do what you like, or it favors whoever thinks is most vocal or most voluble. It is an arena where justice is dispensed, on the basis of the rule of law. No matter whose ox is God. That's why the blindfolded Lady of Justice has a sword and then the scale, the balance. Now, even judges themselves, the particular judge presiding over that courtroom, cannot even hold a conference, a press conference inside that courtroom. because even the judges themselves are expected to be neutral. They cannot even pronounce or analyze their own rulings because they're supposed to be impartial and above board like Caesar's wife. So I think Sowore went overboard in this particular instance. In fact, he has made himself guilty of contempt. I don't know what the court will do subsequently. And then I saw the journalists who went there carrying a microphone. This is why I say media houses should have training section. You don't just carry some rookie journalists, give them a microphone. They don't even understand the principles. So the media houses are also guilty for not training their reporters properly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's good to see that, all arms have spoken. We love Sowore's energy and, his never say die attitude. But, we don't want him to cross any lines, because he is an example to many people. And let's now move on to our good news report as we round up today, where in a history-making moment, a 14-year-old from Ekiti State, Adeolu Oluwadamilola Oreofe, achieved the incredible feat of being crowned the 2026 African Spelling Bee champion. Now, this event took place last week in Harare in Zimbabwe with Oreofe beating all of my my country people. She outspelled competitors from across Africa, including South Africa, Rwanda, and Malawi, to eventually emerge as champion. Oreofe is a student at St. Lawrence Metropolitan College in Ado-Ekiti, and in winning this award, received an award plaque along with an educational scholarship worth $5,000. See how we do it in Zimbabwe. Anyway, we join her family and friends in celebrating this achievement, which stands as a point of pride for both Ekiti State and Nigeria at large. A huge congratulations to her, as she's also set to represent Africa on the world stage when she competes at the World Spelling Bee competition in China later this year. And that's all we've got on What's Trending today. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Oreofe. And congratulations, Ado-Ekiti.
Yeah,
and that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show.